Hey everyone, today I want to take a quick look at the 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook 2. I just received a copy of this that I bought used from Noble Knight Games. I'll put a link down in the description in case anybody's interested. It says that it was in near mint condition, but I don't believe this book has actually ever been opened. When I open it, the cover is still actually a little hard to open and the pages squeak a little bit, so it's in really great condition. And it covers Primal, Arcane, and Divine heroes, so let's go ahead and take a look inside. I'll do some more detailed videos on specific parts of it in the future. I just want to do a quick glance at a few things in particular. So first of all, it's got character races, a diva, a gnome, Goliath, half-orc, and a shifter, as well as some racial paragon paths. And then a section on character classes with an Avenger, a Barbarian, a Bard, a Druid, an Invoker, and a Shaman, and a Sorcerer, and a Warden. Sorry, I was skipping over a couple there. Along with some epic destinies, and then a whole chapter on character options, including backgrounds. I'm interested to see what that looks like and if it's a precursor to what we got in 5th edition. And then a lot of pages with some feats, a whole section with magic items, and then a whole bunch of rituals. And then what looks like probably some corrections and things like that they got from the original Player's Handbook that they put in here. So I just want to quickly look at a few things and just see how they are. I know that when I first got the Essentials books, they had a Druid in it. So I remember making a Druid based on the Essentials books. This one actually has, I believe, a slightly different variation on the Druid. Not familiar with a Diva. I don't know if we have that in some of the other books. Gnomes, we definitely have. Goliaths we also have seen. Half-orcs are pretty standard. Shifters, I believe, are in one of the adventure settings in 5th edition, but I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and check and see if that's what that is. And then we get into Paragon Paths. I'm going to kind of skip over some of that. We'll get into the classes. I'm usually more interested in the classes and the abilities that you get there. And the first one we have that's new is an Avenger. I don't know that we have one like this. It looks kind of like, it says it's a striker, which would imply it's some kind of like a rogue type character. And also indicates that its power source is divine. So I almost feel like this is almost like a paladin, but a rogue. So a paladin rogue. And then obviously tons of powers to go with it. I'm going to just kind of skip through, not looking any pause too long. Barbarians, they have rage. I do know from looking at the Barbarians for one of my other videos that, so they have this rage strike feature, and some of the powers have a rage trait on them, and so it kind of goes hand in hand with that rage strike. You need to use a power that has the rage feature on it. So that's pretty cool. A Bard, and I don't know that when I first saw a Bard, it may not have been until 5th edition and I didn't even really know that 4th edition had one, but I've played a Bard multiple times. I love playing a Bard, so I'm almost curious to put together a 4th edition Bard and just kind of see how that plays out. It obviously has Vicious Mockery, one of the great parts about playing a Bard. So I like that. And let's see, what do we got? A Druid. This is the one where I created a Druid from the Essentials books, and I don't exactly know what's different about the Druid in the Essentials book versus this one, so it might be another video that I make at some point to do a comparison of what you get with a Druid from here versus what you get with a Druid in the Essentials books. So moving on, let's see, that's a Druid, and what else we got? An Invoker. So I'm assuming some kind of caster. It says it's a controller and it's divine, so almost like a cleric, but I believe a cleric is a leader, whereas this is a controller. So a slight variation on a cleric that has a divine powers, but takes on the controller roles. So you still get channel divinity, which you also got in the Avenger, I believe it was. So nice, very cool. Lots of stuff to look at. Can't wait to dig in deeper to it. Shaman. I don't know exactly if this corresponds to something in the later editions or not. I swear I've seen a shaman somewhere, but I don't know if I've run across it. It says it's a leader with primal. I wonder if it would equate to like a monk or something. So another one for me to dig into there. If anyone has any thoughts on what maybe some of these classes evolved into in the later editions, I'd love to hear that in the comments. And then a sorcerer. which is now just part of the core rules. And you get all the powers with a sorcerer. Paragon paths, and then you get so like wild mage. That's one of the things, the wild magic surges. So not till 11th level do you get the wild surge, where you get these kind of side effects for certain casting. Interesting. A warden, so a defender with primal power. Kind of almost sounds like it would be more like a barbarian. Another one worth looking into. Not quite sure if that one equates to something else, if they call it something different now in the newer versions. So I would be interested to see that. I think that was the last of the classes. And then we get into character options. So I want to check out the backgrounds and see what that is here. So it helps you figure out your character background. You get some bonuses to skill checks, and then you can add skills associated with the background, get a language, and then if you're using a campaign setting, you might get a regional benefit. So you can choose where you were raised, and then what kind of society you were brought up in, what kind of characteristics you had at birth, what your occupations were. So those would be kind of tied to 5th edition backgrounds, and you get associated skills with that. So yeah, you can kind of see that the seeds were planted on backgrounds that evolved into what we get in 5th edition. Not a lot there. Is there? Oh, there's more. So then we got racial backgrounds, so specific to different races. So a little bit, yeah, definitely some. It's a precursor to what we got in 5th edition. I'm interested to read through that some more. A lot of stuff in here I want to read. And then some feats. Let's spend a lot of time reading through those to try to figure it out. Good thing they have the table for it. So lots of feats, lots of feats. Feats are nice. I like the idea of feats, but there's just so many. It gets a little unwieldy trying to figure out which one you should choose and if you've got the prerequisites. So I can understand there being some concern about having feats, but I like the idea of them, but the implementation sometimes can get a little bulky. There's some adventuring gear with some musical instruments, some magic armor, lots of magic armor. Wow. Okay. Wow. I love how the everything gets its own flavor. And then we get into magic weapons. So it's kind of like the Adventurer's Vault, where you get the table of everything and then the detailed descriptions of all those things. So really nice. Some wondrous items. And then rituals. So interesting. Lots of different rituals, it would seem. So that seems like, I don't know that you have so much of this in 5th edition, or they're just kind of mixed in with the spells. So again, another thing worth looking into. And then we get all those rule updates. So that would be interesting to go back and see what may be tweaked from the original player's handbook, which I do have. So interesting. And there we go. So that's kind of my unboxing of this book. I just picked it up. I didn't have this book before, so I get to add it to my collection, which I'm really excited about. And I'm excited about making some more in-depth videos on some of the different parts of it and digging into some of the details and seeing how they compare to other things and all that. So be on the lookout for those. And if you have any thoughts on things you'd like to see videos on, leave those down in the comments, and I definitely will lean towards making videos that folks indicate that they're interested in. If you've got any thoughts about the Player's Handbook too, and how you used it and anything to be on the lookout for, I'd love to hear that too down in the comments. So just let me know. Until next time, take care.